In an 8-man league, 4 teams are undefeated and 4 teams can't buy a victory. You know what that means. Fantasy football is back, baby. Welcome to the Tyrod Taylor Cover Band League recap for week 1. That was 2, but it's 1. That's right, gentlemen. I was about to say ladies and gentlemen, but this is an all guys group. But I'm excited that it's lasted 2 seasons already, and we're going to continue to build on it. And we've already seen some interesting results from some of the changes that we've made in the scoring and everything. QBs are dominating this league, much like they do in the real league. We're going to go game by game and give a quick recap, just give some thoughts, and go from there, really. Starting off with my game. In comparison to last year's week 1 matchup against Punishment Incorporated, you can see that we lost to Punishment Incorporated last year, and other than the Cleveland Chubs, everything was pretty much the same. This bottom line here, the exact same score, but me and pardon me, the defending champ, were able to reverse our fortunes for week 1. So we're already building. And really what it is Richard, we just outclassed you, bud. I mean, we should have. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. We barely edged you out there, but we got it. My first overall pick, Bijan Robinson, proved his formidability as a dual threat running back by scoring 27.4 points. Josh Jacobs turned his game around pretty late, though he's not the only one to do that this week, to score a touchdown. And so I think just across the board, other than Xavier Worthy getting sabotaged by Travis Kelce, the first thing he decided to do after getting engaged to Taylor Swift was hurt his own teammate. Look how blatant this is. Look at that. Tell me that's not intentional. But Xavier Worthy may have put a goose egg, but the rest of my team was consistent. My key to success was Chris Boswell, because even though he wasn't the highest scoring kicker this week, he made the difference. See, what you want to do is when you're drafting, you want to look for the guy who made the most field goals, who had the highest volume. So even if he's not the highest scoring kicker, because he definitely wasn't number 1 on the drafting board, you know he's capable of kicking that amount of volume. But obviously, as we saw with Aaron Rodgers, he might not get those opportunities this year. I digress. I enjoyed the performance, even though Xavier Worthy and George Kittle likely will not play for me next week. So, the Lou boy, you might have an edge, but my team is consistent. Look at your team. And just an interesting observation here, because we haven't done this yet. You can see who the other people's keepers are, and every single one that you've chosen, Richard, is understandable. So I definitely do not fault you for any of those decisions. I'm even excited about Justin Fields on the Jets, man. I had a pit in my stomach where I was like, well, he's playing his old team, so maybe I should play him. But in Jalen Hurts' rivalry game, I just couldn't, push myself to make that decision. But Justin Fields ended up putting up 35.9 points. But look at this here. Let's go look at that for a sec. I talked about differences in the league this year. And if you look at fantasy points, who scored the most, obviously Josh Allen had himself a crazy game. So did Lamar Jackson. So anybody who played in that Buffalo and Baltimore game pretty much benefited from that game. They had crazy stats. Same with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Jets. If you had any of those, congratulations to you. The big iffy move of the week, unfortunately, Richard, was for you, dropping Justin Herbert, and then he turned around and dropped 40 points. And then Daniel Jones. We saw what he can do when he's not getting sacked every 5 seconds. 37.6. But my point in bringing this screen up was look at all the top scoring guys. It's all QBs, a running back, all QBs, a wide receiver, QBs, Bijan Robinson. And they're dominating the league. So if it seems like it's a bit OP, let me know. But I think that's how we're going to continue forward with it for now, unless you guys want to change it up. Next, we go into what I'm deeming the game of the week. Look how close this was. Travis and the Cleveland Chubs almost with that last-second comeback on the back of J.J. McCarthy, which for the first 3 quarters was looking like a dumb choice. It wasn't. J.J. McCarthy got that dog in him. Ow! But alas, pardon me, just was a little bit more consistent, which is what we expect from a defending champ. No pressure, Michael. Pat Mahomes got 34.4 points, edged out J.J. McCarthy. Chuba Hubbard edged out Ashawn Genty, and that's kind of what you look at. If you look at all the matchups, it just most of them edge in the champ's favor. And Derrick Henry's 31.2 points didn't hurt either, I would imagine. But it was a really good matchup all the way around, and living true to his name, it was interesting to see the 3 Cleveland Browns at the bottom of the scoreboard, which they should have won that game. You should have had more points, so it could have easily gone either way. This was cool to watch in real time. But we're going to go over to the juggernaut game of the week, which is the highest scoring team. Alex Koala, the Killer Kowalski, 167.4. Most of them coming from Josh Allen, the guy you snagged from me. He was mine, dang it. But Christian McCaffrey paid off. That was a good choice. He was like, nah, I still got some left in me. I'm not held together by duct tape entirely. I mean, obviously there were a couple of letdowns, but when you have Zay Flowers scoring 29.1, Josh Allen scoring 52.3, you got more than enough points to have the rest of your guys put it up. So congratulations to your juggernaut weekend. Clearly the strategy is just getting guys in red. Look at all of them. It feels bad, though, to have Lamar Jackson have the game he did and still have the rest of your team kind of let you down. Much like in the actual game where his team let him down, Derrick Henry had like a monumental first half and then just didn't show up to the second half. You have your #1 overall pick, Jamar Chase, drop a 4.6. Joe Burrow's fault, but we'll get there in a second. Probably not his fault. Either way, LaMarvelous Chase, you have a great-looking team. I expect you to bounce back in week 2. And then, of course, Kansas City Kunai with Chain taking down the Lou Boy. Landon, are you planning on having a year similar to last year? You didn't draft last year, so you had the excuse. But you drafted a team that seems like it's going to underperform. It's only 1 week, so we can't completely let it down. But some of these guys you drafted, CeeDee Lamb of all people, I wasn't expecting that. He's very, like, spiky. I'll give you 4 points. You're in the 30 year. So he definitely came to play. But other than that, all your guys were like, nah. Not even all reliable. Alvin Kamara and Joe Burrow showed up. He was projected 30.5. One of the most amongst all QBs, and put up 1375. Yeah, your team just didn't show up for you, and that's hard. That's, like I said on the Facebook chat, that's fantasy football sometimes. But then we saw Malik Neighbors arguing with his team on the sideline, showing a bad attitude. Maybe that's going to show what kind of season he has. A.J. Brown showing he might be the redheaded stepchild of the Eagles receivers. T.J. Hawkinson, no longer a receiving tight end. Maybe. I don't know. He didn't really produce for me last year, so I don't really have faith in him anymore, but hopefully he does good for you. Kansas City Kunai with Chain, like we said, a little bit more consistent, scored over 100 points, which was all you needed to do in this game because your team didn't come to play. Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley, the first overall pick of the league, both contributed. Same with Breece Hall, like I said, in that Jets game. Anybody you had from that game was pretty much going to bring you home some points. So that's the quick recap. I could have probably talked a little bit longer, but this first one's kind of a test in the water, so I didn't want to go too far. There's not really any crazy storylines going into week 2. Normally is the time where I'd be like, can so-and-so overcome the odds? Here's why I think that's the case. But since we're so fresh into the season, I don't think I really need to do that. The only cool storyline going into week 2 is that we could potentially have the same intro as last week, or as this week rather. We could still have 4 undefeated teams and 4 unwinning teams. Mainly because, as you can see right here, I'm going for 2-0 against the Lou Boy, who already has a loss. Pardon me, defending champ is going for his second win over Punishment Inc. Killer Kowalski, the first overall person in the league, not definitively, like, because we got 4-way tie for first. Obviously, he scored the most points, so they're giving him the nod. But if you're being technical, just had to throw that out there. My pride's on the line, Alex. I hope you understand. But it's the same storyline. He's going for 2-0, trying to make Cleveland Chubbs 0-2. And then Kansas City Kunai with Chain going for 2-0 against the LaMarvelous Chase, 0-2. So we could be having the exact same storyline, and I don't really think I need to go into it too much because we're still in a regular season. I think I'm the only one that has 2 like big injuries that are sidelining anybody. Let's go get it, guys. May the best person win. And if you enjoyed this video, or you have any criticisms of how to make it better, just let me know. And that's gonna draw this week 1 recap of the Tyrod Taylor Cover Band League to a close. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you later on the gridiron, folks.